I'm your host, John Cavendish, and welcome to Season 5 of the Amazon Strategist Show. The show that's all strategy with no hacks, no silver bullets, and no magic pills, just real practical strategies to grow your Amazon business. Today, I am joined with a bit different episode this week with an AI automation expert. So I know there's been many talks online, on the Facebook groups, on the forums, about implementing AI in your business, and most of us, or most people I've talked to, their AI implementation limits that using ChatGPT, using Claude, and just manually doing stuff. So I thought, yeah, who's better to invite on than my friend and client, Juan, who can actually take us deep into what works, what isn't working, and what we can do to automate things, so to really use AI in our business, not just write emails with ChatGPT. So Juan is a fractional AI engineer and founder of Flowgrama, an AI automation agency that partners with founders to help them operate their businesses smarter and without adding headcount. Who out there likes not adding headcount? I do. So his specialty is helping founders transition from reactive chaos to AI-first operations, so the business can scale without founders working longer hours. So Juan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, John, for the warm invitation, the introduction, and having me here in the show.
Oh, you're very welcome. This is actually our second time recording this. So this is going to be the best podcast ever, because 2 times through. So yeah, I mean, just diving straight into it, what do you see? How when clients come to you and they want to say, I want to implement AI, what do they think they need and what do they actually need?
Yeah, usually like clients, they will approach pretty much for 2 main problems. Like one is operations and the other one is marketing. And yeah, usually we always start with operations, because if we don't fix those parts, then we're just adding like more wood to the fire and it's not going to fix things around. Some stuff that I have identified is that founders, they usually have like a very good understanding on the things that they want to automate. They just don't know how to automate those stuff. They will have like 2 or 3 ideas, problems that they cannot stand anymore. They want to automate those stuff, and then they kind of don't know what else to automate, but they know like AI automation, something that they need to do in their businesses. So that's where I come in. I sit with the founder, I sit with the team, I try to be part of like their ecosystem, understand their businesses, and start implementing a roadmap. I will start implementing a roadmap. Usually it takes like between 3 to 4 months, but you will start seeing ROI since the very first month that we start working together.
Cool. So when you say into operations, like what stuff can AI actually do and what can't it do?
Yeah, most of the time I'm working with automating customer support. So that's a big pain in many of the e-commerce clients that I have. They will receive like hundreds of tickets and they are still manually replying to them. Now, you can use, of course, like ChatGPT, create like your knowledge base, but still you're copying and pasting information between 2 platforms, and you're not solving too much of this, burning your customer support. They are feeling tired already. You're paying them for solving customer problems, not for copy and pasting from one platform to another platform. So what we have been doing is implementing RAG systems. RAG systems are pretty much your knowledge base into an AI and letting the AI to reply to these tickets immediately and letting the AI escalate these tickets when they need it. So you, the human, do not need to always be involved every time that there is a ticket. It is something that I call agent in the loop. Now the agent is the one taking the decisions. When do I need to bother the human? Not when like it's not the other way around.
So how do you get that without it just sounding like robotic Q&A?
I think like that's probably like the top or second question that I usually get from clients. They are very concerned about like losing their voice, right? But actually, this was a problem probably like from 1 year ago, 2 years ago, when ChatGPT just started to produce some content. But nowadays we have very powerful LLM. We have Sonnet 4.6, which you can pretty much set it up to your own voice by tweaking it, by creating skills, by making sure that it follows the same patterns that your customer support has been using. We are not dealing with very old technology here. It's a technology that's constantly improving. and it is only going to get better. It's the same case as, making content for video. Before, like 2 years ago, it was very choppy. Now you can create very beautiful videos that you can use for your Facebook ads, for your Meta ads, for your Google ads, all these things, and people is using it. Like e-commerce websites are creating content, images, videos, all for the purpose of driving more traffic, driving more sales. So text is something very basic that nowadays, like, we can keep the voice of the company, the voice of the VAs or the customer support. It's not a problem anymore.
I love it. And you mentioned Sonnet 4.6, so this is May 2026. So I know we've got Sonnet 4.6 and Opus 4.7 at the moment in Claude. I use the drop-down menu. So, I mean, this is just a question for me, slightly off topic, but how do you know which one to use for what purpose? How do you know if you should be using Claude or Sonnet or something else completely different?
Yeah, and you forgot to mention Haiku, which is like their lowest tier from...
I don't use. I'm not poor.
Yeah. It's not about being poor. It's about being efficient on the way like you use your token.
I just use Opus for everything, and then I burn my credits in about an hour.
Yeah, that's the big problem. Like, okay, so Sonnet it is very good at producing content that is going to be like a reading content. Is text, is a blog post, is the post for your LinkedIn, for customer support. This is like the model that you want to use. It's very rich on this human voice. It doesn't sound robotic, and on top of that, like, you can add more skills to avoid like using M dashes or sound like AI. For Opus, I use it a lot for programming and planning. Like, if I want to develop something, I will go straight to Opus and I will go back and forth, making sure that Opus has a better understanding on the projects that I'm working on. So when we start developing this, is pretty easier for Opus.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've been using Opus a lot, and then I used Sonnet to build a website a few days ago.
Yep.
I only noticed after it was built, and it worked perfectly fine. So, I have no idea, So thank you for your insights. I'm still like a total noob when it comes to this stuff, but it's amazing that even I can create stuff, and I don't know what I'm doing, which is amazing.
And that's going to be the norm in the future. This technology is not going to be limited only for technical people. Everybody is going to be able to have access to this technology and create the things that they want to create. And I love that because it just keep opening the doors to more opportunities, opening the doors for new niches that we haven't discovered yet, new categories. So it's going to be a very interesting upcoming years that we have for this technology to show us up, like how are we going to reshape the e-commerce space? How are we going to interact with customers? And that's something that I'm looking forward to be part of.
Yeah, me too. And I know I can get something out of it. I've met people who are amazing at it like you, and people who are, just starting out. But yeah, I think I remember you talked before about you're doing like an AI coaching program, like individual and group, and just getting in on something like that is a great way to massively accelerate and get more out. Because what I used to pay, I paid devs $30,000 in 2022-23 to build something for me, which never really came to fruition. I never launched it. I binned it and just started again. And now I could have built the same thing in about a day and a half on my own, and actually even better if I knew what I was doing. So
that's correct.
It's ridiculous and very good. But I wish I'd had it 2 years ago when I was trying to build this thing, because I could have built it myself. Because I have the ideas, I just had to wait for some coder they called a code monkey, who my chief dev had hired to code this thing, and it took months, and it was such a waste of time.
Don't worry, I have been in the same boat. I have hired developers. I launched a SaaS for Shopify a few years ago. Yeah, and it took like 6 months. I spent $20K plus developing this app, and yeah, it's like it didn't work out at the end because the technology was moving fast. I needed to keep investing in the development, and I was like, you know what, this is not going to work. But nowadays, I'm pretty sure I can develop this app in a weekend. And yeah,
For $20.
for $20 probably.
Yeah, well, I mean, you probably for all the free credits in your account over that weekend. I mean, probably for $20 of credits.
Yeah.
I built something pretty advanced for that. I kept running out of credits in my 5-hour time window, which is how they get you. But then I could have just upgraded to the $100 plan. I'm just being cheap.
That's why I mentioned that you need to use your tokens wisely as well. Like some models you use it for content creation, some other models you use it for development. And this is like the same thing when I move like projects to production, because that's something that I care for my clients. Like, yeah, not only delivering the results that they want, but also making sure that we are not overspending on all these tools, making sure that we're utilizing our tokens in the proper way. Because otherwise, like, you can have like a very good product there, but it is just costing you so much money that you're not going to use it. You won't feel comfortable using it. So that's something that I care a lot about when I'm working with clients, like making sure that they get their ROI as soon as possible.
I remember you mentioning that when we were talking before, that you can use these AI response agents inside some of the softwares, but it's 30 cents currently per AI response. Whereas if you built it yourself, and these guys are doing hundreds of responses potentially a day, depending on how much volume they get in.
Yeah.
If you build it yourself, it's a fraction of that. So they paid you to build the thing, but they break even in like 2-3 months just on having their own tool, and they own the data, as opposed to as though they're training their own data. They have their own training database, as opposed to just leaving it in the system and the system being able to charge them 30 cents a time.
Yes.
Love it. So I'm sure some of us have already built some automations using like Zapier. And then I heard about make.com, people talking about it. It seems like it's already potentially we've gone now past before I get into it. It does not need it anymore. And Zapier is really cool. I really love the fact that now Zapier has Copilot built in. So you just have a natural language conversation with Zapier and it sets it all up for you, which is way better because, again, I used to pay other people to do that stuff for me because I didn't want to bother doing it. So what's better? What's the best platform to use? If you were talking to me and I'm a seller, which I still am technically, somewhat, I don't run it though. So if I ran it, where would I start? What sort of automation should I start with? Should I start building a whole background operating system in Claude? Should I just start playing with it? What should I do?
I think it all depends to the goals that you have within your company and who is going to run all these systems. Because I think like people tend to forget that once the systems are built, like, yeah, they are better, they are providing better results, but at the same time, they are more complex. They're not just like, Zapier workflow, connect one node to another one. If you are like, if the founder or like someone in your team without technical knowledge wants to run these systems, then stick to Zapier. Like Zapier is fine, it's doing the job. But if you want to build more complex systems and really take advantage of AI, then yeah, you need to start building stuff in Claude.